Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Cooking with Unity with Max, Phil, and Jeffrey. How are you guys doing? We've got hands in frame. It's awesome. Woo! All right. So, today we're doing a play around of the Unity 5.0 beta. The Unity 5.0 beta is a beta. We are going to run into bugs. Do not judge Unity based on these bugs. Additionally, what are you doing?
It's a bird.
Okay. So additionally, we haven't actually done anything with this. Like I've opened it for very little time today, just messing around with it. So we're going to kind of go through the list of what's available in it, and just kind of play around. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about is we have that Patreon page that you can donate to us. If you donate, there is now the first reward is if you donate at least $1 a month. You get access to our special super repo, which is on GitHub. It's not very super right now. Please don't judge it right in this moment as to how super it is. It will become super over time. It has one thing in it right now, and that thing only really helps people who have the Unity 5.0 beta, and I will explain that more on the show in a moment here, because there's a few big differences between 4 and 5 that are really important. So, without further ado, let's get to it. So, what are we doing? I'm going to just choose new project here. Actually, no.
We should go through opening a project, maybe.
All right. Yeah. That was what I wanted to do, and I didn't do it. I wanted to reset this, or is it reset? Oh yeah. So this is easy component. So I'm going to check out master here. That's fine. And so what we've got going on is if we go into a project that we already have, so I'm going to use Mornings with Unity or Breakfast with Unity as an example. The first thing that you'll notice is it comes up with this screen that says upgrade scripts. Project contains scripts and or assemblies that use obsolete API that Unity can upgrade to the new API for you. Upgrading scripts causes Unity to modify your scripts / assemblies in the assets folder. You should make up a backup before proceeding. You can run the API updater through assets, run API updater menu. So what this is talking about is there's some changes to the script calls, and there's a really big classification of them that actually is kind of scary at first, especially considering how much we use on the show. Their converter seems to work very well. I'm going to click no thanks first because I want to show you what is going to cause errors and what these errors are. For the most part, this button will probably do you well. The problem is you should absolutely make it a backup. You should definitely do it before you click this button, because if it does happen to make a problem, you don't want to have to deal with that problem. So what I suggest is get your stuff into source control before you upgrade it. That's the best choice, because then you can upgrade, check it in, and if something breaks later, you find out that it was from this, you can kind of roll back whatever needs to be rolled back. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to hit no thanks, just so we can see what breaks. And there's going to be quite a bit that breaks. So I'm using the Unity Dark theme. Actually, the only reason I'm using it is because it actually resets on my own, but I figured that I would not change it so that you guys know that you need Unity Pro right now to have Unity 5.0. The 5.0 beta is only available to people who are currently subscribers to Unity or have a pre-order for Unity 5. If you are a subscriber, you already got an email for this with the download link. If you had not, if you buy Unity 5 Pro, any version, you will get access to this beta. From what I understand, there will be a free tier, as always, when 5.0 actually rolls out. I don't know when 5.0 actually is rolling out, but it will be in the next few months. So what are we doing? So you'll see that there's a couple errors here, and there's actually way more errors than this. It just stopped on this one. And what it said is Unity Engine.component.audio is obsolete. Property audio has been deprecated. Use get component audio source instead. You will be seeing a lot of those. Basically, as soon as MonoDevelop opens up here, basically Unity has removed all of the easy accessors to built-in components, and you use get component for everything now. So where is the example here?
To the audio.
Okay, so yeah, that's totally not what opened.
That's what it said,
double click
right?
it again, but that's not what it opened. There we go. And get rid of this. All right, so audio.pitch, this is no longer valid. Basically, any of the ones that you do before, audio, rigid body, transform, game object probably may still exist. Game object, I think that one does. Transform probably does. But all the rest of them, rigid body, yeah, you won't see a lowercase rigid body. You won't see a lowercase audio. You won't see a lowercase, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this applies to, what was that?
Collider.
Collider is another good example. So what this means is you have to change these calls to get component audio source in this case. And with the little brackety thing and those things. And you have to do that for any time that you want to get something that's not your main component. Now, the reason that Unity did this is so that they could actually separate the assemblies for the various components, so that in the future we'll be able to maybe pare down the executable size if there's components that you don't use. Like if you don't need Unity's physics system, you can strip that out. If you don't need their audio system for some reason, you can strip that out. If you don't need various components, you can just remove those. I think it's probably a good reason. It also makes it so that all the calls are consistent, and so that you know that you're calling get component, because you basically were calling get component when you were doing those other things anyway. It was just happening in the background, yes. It does appear, I haven't done extensive testing, but I did a little bit of speed testing earlier when I was working on a little project for this. It does seem like get component is also faster in this version. So you still should probably cache your stuff if you have a lot of calls that you need to make, but it seems significantly faster than when I was using it in the old version of Unity. And it was always pretty fast, honestly. Like people always talk about how slow. Really wasn't that bad.
You could set a reference to that object if you need to.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. You could just do like audio source. It's just like what we did.
Yeah,
before.
It's just like we were doing before. Audio source.
Audio equals. We could even do that, and it wouldn't matter because this isn't a built-in anymore. Well, it might matter. Let's actually see if this works because Unity tries.
So we want it to have audio source equals get component, which equals.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's valid actually. Believe it or not.
It's a lot of equations. Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's fine with that.
It's not totally fine with this. Audio source. Let's see if that fixes it.
Now it's saying
float to Unity engine audio source. Because it's
the
getting the pitch here. That's why. Okay, so yeah, we can't. We could probably do something fancy like this. Which, if you ever see that, yeah, don't do that. Okay, yeah, that's not working. Silly. Okay, let's not do that.
Why don't we do it
let's just do it the simple way. We'll just do equals get component.
In front of audio source.
We'll just do it this way. We'll do it as a two-liner.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Then
and then audio.pitch.
Audio.pitch. I'm actually interested to see if this works. I think it's not going to. And the reason I think it's not going to is because
you need a curly.
Well, you need.
I need a curly brace. Yeah. Well, the other reason is. You notice that Unity threw an error that it had been obsolesced, right? Which actually means that that thing has to exist in some way to do that. So I think this is actually going to cause an error. No thanks. Still wants to... Oh, no, maybe...
No, I think that's fine because you're actually pulling in the audio source and storing it as a variable, and then you can access that variable however you want to.
Yeah, that's true, because it would override it anyway. So that's perfect.
That's pretty sweet, actually. So that could be... If you're very used to doing it the old way, it seems
you can
like
just
this
cache
would be
these things.
the way to do it.
Exactly. Now, I have created an alternative for this. We are on the main screen, right? Oh, man. Oh, whew.
Oh. Woo!
Woo! All right.
Note that
yeah, thank you. I appreciate you making note of that.
No, I just couldn't even tell because I was sitting here.
So this is a big change. Now I did create a little project here. Let's actually do the conversion first, and we'll see how this looks first. So I'm going to just run. Where do they say those assets?
Run API.
Run API updater. So if we just do that, I made a backup. Go ahead. It'll just finish updating scripts and assemblies, and it's playing. So that's good. So what this has done is, if we go to any of our scripts that had problems, like follow position physics or follow rotation physics, you'll see that before I was using rigid body here. It was just .rigid body. I didn't actually show the before and after, but trust me when I say this was... Actually, I know a better way of showing this. We're going to go into our GitHub thing and go to our working copy. So here's all the changes that have happened. So this one was our change. This is the one that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Follow position physics. So we had something that was called rigid body .velocity. It now says get component rigid body velocity. We had rigid body .add force. Now it says get component rigid body .add force. And we can go through all of these, and you'll see that any place that we had used the direct calls, they will be replaced. A lot of rigid body examples here. Let's see if there's something else. Ignore those materials. That's different.
What is the material? I can't ignore them.
Okay, the materials. We have this scrolling thing in our materials, and so anytime that I open up the project, it slightly changes them. Like if we run them, these change.
That's funny.
I didn't put a reset into it, so that it resets them to 0. So,
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
0G movement and more rigid body. Most of this is rigid body, just because that's what we happen to use a lot in here.
Cinecat says, I recommend using a custom mono-based class that caches all of them automatically. That's what he did.
The thing is, I think they are automatically caching them now, because I actually built a caching system today before I had done a speed test, and I regretted it because I ended up pulling mine apart because theirs was actually outperforming me by a significant amount. Or maybe I was doing something really stupid, which I will go back and double check. But what I made here, I'm going to switch over to the Easy Get component version. We're just going to check this out. Oh, it wants to change things that we changed locally. Let me just get rid of all of our stupid changes that we don't need. I'm going to get rid of everything except for, doesn't matter on those, or that. Reset. And Easy Get component, check it out. Check it out. Thirdparty.meta. All right, one more. Remove and check out. All right, so Easy Get component is something that I made and I put into the Cooking with Unity super repo. This is the first thing that's on the super repo. It is only for it's really only useful for Unity 5.0. It might work in Unity 4. And so if you wanted to start converting your scripts early, you could do that. I plan on writing a converter that actually supports this as well if you prefer this type of nomenclature. But what this does is, you'll see that if I hit play, it'll play. But what we have now is, if we go into, say, change pitch to timescale, we have this .audio with little thingies. What this does is it allows for this .rigid body, or if it's something that has a rigid body, like if we go to something that uses collider, probably add continuous explosion force. This definitely will do it. So cold.rigid body. Now you still have to add these little things, and this is actually something that Unity had considered doing. Is doing an extension properties to support this, and they decided not to because I don't know why. They said it in a blog post that they didn't think that it gave you anything particularly special. I like it, and I'm probably going to be using it. So I just made this so that we can have this. So I don't know. I like this better. And I just did it for all the built-in types that were available before. I'm also going to extend it to built-in types that were not available before. I might also change some inconsistencies, like I might change audio to audio source. Right, that's the only one that has a different name than its actual component. And I feel that I should probably change that. I have not changed that yet on this version. I will be updating this DLL as time progresses. But yeah, so this is a reason to potentially subscribe to our Patreon thing. It probably isn't a reason enough, but there will be more cool stuff up there as time progresses in the super repo. So I just wanted to show this stuff. I'm just going to keep this as is for now, and I think we should just make a new project, maybe. Let's work with this one, because we've got a lot of resources that we can work with here to play around with stuff in case we need to, but we'll just make a new scene for right now. So you'll notice that the scene automatically has a skybox and horizon and stuff. So the default settings are a little bit different. If we go to scene render settings, you'll see that default skybox is in there by default. Part of this is because you'll also notice that a directional light is in the scene automatically. That's nice. We almost always need one, and we almost always add one, and now there's one there.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that they're doing this is because the version of Unity has what is called the PBR pipeline, the physically based rendering pipeline. They have something called the default shader, I think is what it's called. And what it does is it allows you to create stuff that looks realistic. It's designed for realistic rendering. And it does it based on reflective properties that apply to objects in our world based on research done by folks out there that do research on reflectivity and stuff. We may not go into this in deep detail, but I probably am going to try and play with a little bit because I am excited to see what it does. What it means for us is it means that Unity had to be built up to support really good reflection systems, and preferably they should work in real time and in offloaded, like pre-baked styles, so that they work fast on mobile and still provide really cool results. I'm curious if there's a built-in package that's really cool to show off physically based rendering in this. Probably not. Naturally not.
Some kind of package with a lot of varying teapots.
Yeah, I was hoping. So let's actually see if we can play with some PBR. This one I'm not sure. What? PBR? Oh yeah, I guess this also Pabst Blue Ribbon. Is that why you laughed?
Yeah, it's just silly.
All right, so
it's just silly.
So let's open up a can of PBR. All right, so we're gonna need some stuff to reflect around. So I'm just going to create some cubes. We're just gonna create some cubes, and let's create a plane. 2D object plane. Now remember, we haven't really played with this ourselves, so please bear with us if it's not perfect or awesome or anything. It's probably on us on today's show. So this is more for people who are just really interested to see what is going to be available and just want to see someone playing around with it as if they just downloaded it blindly and started stumbling through it. So 0, 0, 0.
I feel like we're doing a Let's Play of Unity 5.0.
We absolutely are. This is a Unity 5.0 Let's Play. Beta.
Iron Man.
It's a beta.
Iron Man.
All right, so let's create this. Let's make this cube like red. So we're gonna create. I'm just gonna create a material. I'm gonna call it red. And
see the
so,
reflections there.
yeah, you can already see that this looks different than what you expect. This is based than what we are used to.
Yes, it is.
So this is called the standard shader. Sorry, it's not the default shader. It is the standard shader. And this is it's in a class of its own. There's no specialness. It's just, and it still has all the ones that you'd expect. So like if you wanted just a maybe if you just wanted a diffuse mobile friendly thing, you can just change it to mobile diffuse. They have just regular diffuse anymore. Legacy shaders is where like a lot of the stuff that you can't find elsewhere shows up. Basically stuff that was at the top level before, and stuff that doesn't really apply as much anymore now that there's new reflectivity and illumination stuff.
Yeah.
So we're gonna play with the standard shader. And
by the way, Nicholas Costello says using get component with the less than greater than is also a bit slower because it uses generics to determine type. This adds another step. It's not a huge improvement. By passing the type to the component is faster. Example, variable my rigid body equals rigid body 2D, get component type of rigid body 2D.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's still the case. Well, I mean, there is obviously overhead on that call because it is a generic. You are right. I may do a speed test project, and actually that might be something I'll add to the GitHub, the super repo or something, just to see where things stand between 4.0 and 5.0. I did notice some differences definitely when I was using Git component, and I was very pleased with the differences. So,
I'd be interested to see
but yeah.
that too.
Additionally, my solution, the extension method solution, it does add additional time. It is a very, very small amount. I did a test of 1 million calls, and it was 0.0001 seconds slower than
That's not very
in 1 million
slower.
calls than just directly doing Git component. So those type of that's the kind of thing that like a generic type thing. That's about how much that adds to. It's very, very, very small, but it does add up if you're doing millions of operations, which hopefully you're not. It was very much an artificial test when I was doing it, just for the purposes of benchmarking it. So diffuse. We're gonna change the diffuse color to red.
Yay.
We're going to throw this on the cube.
Yay.
And we're going to, so we have our plane here, and our plane is normal
Looks
default
like-
material. So if we hit play right now, so I don't have a character controller or anything. Let's change that. Let me add a character controller. Oh wait, we already have a character controller in here, don't we? That's why I use this project. So we're just going to grab our first-person controller, throw it in here, and delete main camera, and just throw this somewhere that's useful. -10 and up a little bit, so that we don't fall through the ground. Why are there? Wait, why did that main camera come back? I swear I deleted you. Okay, good. So, wait, oh, I deleted the wrong thing. I deleted the... That's what I deleted. I deleted our light. Our beautiful little light. So we hit play, and we got this, and you can see that we have a cube thingy here. Let's make this red cube a little bit bigger. I'm just going to kind of create a little multicolored light box here. We're just going to do like 5 by 5. And let's just... 2.5. Let's duplicate that and just make kind of a... Whoops, that didn't duplicate at all. Duplicate, please. Just do 90 degrees, the other 90 degrees, one of these 90 degrees.
It's always one of them.
And let's pull this into some position that kind of looks right. And let's make another color. We're just going to duplicate red and create green. Let's keep it all caps too.
Yep. Consistency. So
green, we'll make green. Nice, pure, horrible green. This thing. So one of the things... Alright, cool. So, and then let's play around with our plane. Let's change this. So let's create a... So we're going to create a... not a fancier shader, but a fancier material. We're going to create another material, and we're going to call this fancy, because we're going to play... and so I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we're going to put it on our plane, and it'll look exactly the same, because it's whatever we set it to by default. And let's play with this stuff. So it's white. Let's make it so that it... so we've got 2 rendering modes. Opaque, cutout, transparent. So this is 4 different things. Opaque cutout means it's a threshold cut. So what'll happen is whatever is below alpha in this case will be fully transparent, and everything above that will be fully opaque.
That's actually used to be in their own shaders before.
They still have them in their own shaders as well.
Well, in Legacy.
Yeah, in Legacy.
That could actually be pretty helpful.
These ones exist. Actually, cutout surprisingly is not very helpful on mobile. Ironically,
of course it's not.
Well, it shouldn't be. Of course, it should be like why, but it's because tile-based rendering in a lot of the phones they use this special tile rendering thing, and throwing away pixels, like just saying I don't want this pixel in the shader, is really slow. It's even slower than blending, which is really weird, but it's the case. So we're gonna just use opaque because we want it for that. And these big old boxes here. I don't even know. What? Oh, the boxes here. These actually show the textures that you put in. So if we want to put in like a gold coin or something, we can put that in here, and it shows up here. The reason they did this is because there's so many slots for these. They wanted these to take up a lot less space. If you remember before, there were these big squares to show each one. And so if you need a preview, you can still just click on them, and you'll get the preview down here. And you'll get what it comes from. That's a really awful texture, but I'm going to leave it there for right now. Actually, let's tile it. So let's just go like 100. That didn't help.
I think that did the opposite of what you wanted it to.
Wow. I think you might be right.
Do like 0.1.
0.1 and 0.1?
Nope. That didn't do it either. Well, now I'm just confused. 1. Just change it back to 1, see what happens.
Oh, I know why.
Oh!
Because this is not a really good texture to choose. It's clamped. So yeah, that's not going to work. We could just change this. I'm just going to do it for right now. We're going to change it so that wrap mode is repeat. There we go. And now we can, because the transparency, that's the reason that this looks really freaking ugly. Because this data that I didn't even know was in there because it was transparent. Mm-hmm. So we'll do repeat. And actually, I think we can clear that up with just by doing alpha is transparency. If we remove that and hit apply. Well, it's not really better.
No.
Whatever. We'll just tile this thing a bunch for fun. Change this real soon.
Change it to like 10 and 10 or something like that. Or
Yeah.
25.
10 and 10. Alright. And
That looks weird.
it does. It does look weird. Alright. We'll be getting to fancier stuff here, I swear. So, specular, smoothness, detail mask. So, the question I have here is... I swear that... So if we change the smoothness, that changes the reflectivity. And the specular.
Interesting.
So if we change that really high and hit play... We're actually reflecting the sky. We're not really reflecting these objects here. Now, if we mark these as static, I'm curious if we will get some cool effects. So if we hit play now... Trying to get the sweet bounce lighting that automatically calculates now. Maybe we still have to do that manually once. If we go to light mapping, what do we have here? So... Light map static. Global maps. There's a lot of options and stuff here. So we don't have the button to actually calculate light maps anymore. So that leads me to believe that this will be automatic now. But at the same time... Oh, maybe because we need to actually make the lights static as well. So let's make the directional lights static. Really shouldn't require that, but let's just give it a shot. I'm not getting any bounce off of this.
What about the plane? Did you make that static? Or just the walls?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't make the plane static, and that might make a difference. So if we hit play... Okay. Well, bake, pause, and play mode. It definitely started baking as soon as we did that. And just I heard my fan gear up as soon as this happened. So so cool. It's doing the light mapping and stuff. And so now if we hit play,
oh, that looked different. It just changed.
Yeah.
Like,
you'll see it's hard.
actually, you can tell it right there because it looks. Well,
Yeah, you can see it on these. Let me just go ahead and make this texture not retarded. We're gonna go back to fancy and we're just gonna get rid of this. I don't like that. And let's not make it super reflective either. Let's just do that for right now, and then hit play.
oh, I can actually see
So
some
you can
red.
see it's very, very slight, but we have some darkness that kind of comes in here from shadowing, and there's some bounce lighting that's coming off of different things here. But you'll see that there's kind of a subtleness to the shading. It's probably hard to see on the video, unfortunately.
I can see it, though.
Yeah, but remember the video has a lower gamut than what we can see. So, all right, let's try making things a little bit more crazy, intense. There we go. So you can see if we change this stuff in the editor, it immediately shows the changes. So like if we rotate this thing, we can see the colors actually changing and bleeding off onto the ground. See? And that's using the new global illumination system built into Unity. And then once we are done moving our stuff around, it will eventually calculate the actual baked-in stuff too.
Oh wow!
And so basically, you can set up your scene really quickly, edit it, the edits affect things
The lights
in real time.
apparently don't need to be static.
Okay, cool,
That's what was one of Storm Prince said that.
very cool.
I didn't know.
I don't know why it's not doing a recalc on the baked stuff. Like, I don't know what it takes to coax that to happening. It looks significantly different when we're playing than it does
Well, I
when
think
we're
it's
waiting. Probably because
the
it didn't
intensity
pre-calc.
of the light too.
No, but I mean, we're not getting anything. Like, this is definitely a flat color.
Yeah.
Versus when we're in the scene where we get this niceness. Window light mapping. GI, static GI, and real time. Oh, cool. We can change all of these.
With reflection probes, also shadowing. It works off the shadow maps a lot, apparently. So what's
Reflection probes, dude. Also shadowing. It works off the shadow maps a lot. Okay, cool. Why aren't we getting shadowing? We thought we had that enabled initially. I definitely saw some shadows at one point.
Yeah, it says cast shadows.
Oh, shadow type, no shadows there.
Weird.
Alright, and I think it's because I killed our thingy. There we go.
You can see the lights. I think it's just
Looks
so
really,
intense.
yeah, we're
of a
doing really,
white
really too much right now.
that
So
it's
yeah. Here, let's make it a gray or something. Let's just make it less crazy. And then let's make I pumped up the direction.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
ridiculous amount. So
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Certainly seeing less bounce, but yeah,
let's make the plane less crazy. So our fancy shader we're going to make a little bit gray. It's going to be fancy and gray.
So, does the scene start with a default ambient light or something?
Yes, it starts with a built-in directional light that we accidentally deleted. Sorry, that I accidentally deleted. I'll take credit for that one. And it also bases the ambience on it actually bases it on the skybox, which is really cool. So like you can actually, if we change the skybox, like if we go to if we stop playing and we import our skyboxes here, I'm just going to import whatever, I'll just do all of them. No, I just want the sunny ones. No, I want all of them because we want to play with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Import.
Click the light icon at the top left, is what Cinecat says. Light icon.
This one that shows it. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
This shows our real-time lighting. There we go. Cool. I thought that was on, but I guess it wasn't. So that explains why there was a difference between play mode and not play mode. So we've got this. So now if we go into our skybox here, scene render settings, and we change our skybox, if we give it like eerie skybox, that looks really awful. I think that's not the one I'm supposed to. That's just wrong, I think. Huh. Why do these skyboxes look terrible? It's like it's doing something wrong with the alphas.
I think it is doing something wrong with the alphas.
Yeah. Remember, this is beta. They haven't it's obviously have not updated the built-in packages at all. So like that, these are very much legacy from
this is still
before,
work in progress.
So yeah. Ooh, that one looks okay for whatever reason. But you can see that the quality of the color has changed on all the objects every time that we change something. So the sky actually affects the way that that stuff renders and the albedo of things and stuff. So that's awesome. So let's see if we can get this thing to be reflective. So we're going to need to have, like someone mentioned, reflection probes. And so I'm going to create, what is it called? Parameters.
Hey, look, you can make a J.J. Abrams film. Put lens flare everywhere.
Yep, indeed you can. That's on the old version as well.
Yeah.
Alright, so they're not in their component.
Light.
Oh yeah, probably. Reflection probe, there it is. In light probe group. So reflection probes. Remember, I'm fresh on this stuff. These basically create these areas for, they basically create environment maps for things. So you can see that the lighting subtly is changing too when this happens, and I'm not sure exactly why, but it does. So we're going to just put this box kind of around our area here in the middle so that we can actually try to reflect something. So now if we hit play here, let's see what it looks like. Still looks very similar. But if we were to create an object that's reflective, I'm going to create a sphere. And we're going to try and make it reflective, even though there's some parameters I feel like I'm missing. namely, for physically based rendering, usually you specify if an object is what do you call it? You usually specify an object to be either a dielectric to determine reflectivity calculation stuff, and I didn't really see an option that was called either of those things, but we will see if
Syndicate said something about said you're selecting textures and not cube maps.
I very well might have been.
Okay.
It did look like it was actually... Here, let's double check that. So what he was talking about is in our scene render settings when I was going to the skyboxes.
It looked like...
So yeah, it says skybox. If we actually look at it in... So if we go here and we click on this... Yeah, this is definitely... That's a cube map.
That is
so,
absolutely
so
cube
it's
map.
it's definitely not... that's not the problem. So the problem is probably just some weird incompatibility or something that they're using alpha where they didn't expect there to be a problem or something. So
Can you try changing the... Is it using a new shader or the legacy shader?
Oh, yeah. Good point. Maybe there is a... Oh, yeah. If we change this to... Wait, no, it's a skybox six-sided. Yeah. No, it's using the quote-unquote new shader. So.
All right.
So, anyway, back to the drawing board. So, let's go back to the one that looked good, which was Overcast. Actually, let's do Overcast 2. No. Overcast. Yeah, fine. So we're going to click on this thing. We're going to give it a new material. We're going to give it another. I'm going to create material reflective. We're going to throw this onto our sphere, and we're going to see about making it reflective. So if we increase the smoothness, you can see that we get some reflection.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And it's actually... so in here it may be real-time-ish. No, it's not. Oh, yeah. It may be based on that probe. It may not. Let's actually see what happens if I get rid of the probe for science. Yep, killed it. So you definitely have to have reflection probes for this to work. And I believe that this supports real-time reflections with probes when you are in-game, unless you turn that off. So like if we actually move this object around, hopefully the reflection will actually move too. I'm just going to pause the game here, and we're just going to move this object, and we'll see if it did change. Yeah, definitely. So that's awesome. Now, it might look odd if we go into the other side of it. Let's find out, just for fun of it, because of the way that reflection probes work. So, if we move this thing to the other side, it might not look right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not gonna look
definitely
right.
looking wrong. See, you can see that the red's still on this side, even though it should be on the opposite
basically
side.
the reflection probe just
So-
make a reflection based on
Yes,
located
if
itself.
you've played Half-Life 2, I'm going to use Half-Life 2 as an example, and this is a little bit mean, but it's something that's really obvious in the Source engine, and I think a lot of people have played Half-Life 2. Team Fortress also applies to this. If you ever look at like your gun, like if you pull out like the revolver that's all shiny and stuff, and you walk, you'll see that there's times when it just snaps to a different environment map. Like the environment map is based on different portions of the level. That's basically what a light probe is doing. It's generating a cube map for that area. So if we wanted this to look right over here, we could create another reflection probe. I'm just going to duplicate this one, and then we can move it into this side, and you'll see that the reflection got a lot better. And more accurate, I think. Although it looks really shadowy for some reason. No, that looks rightish. Yeah,
That's correct.
it's because of the shadows getting fancy on it. But yeah, now if you move the object, it'll actually kind of look correct between the two. So if we like transition from one to the other, it will transition between the two things. You probably don't need global coverage. This is kind of more of a room coverage type thing. So you want this cube around each like, room that you have in a game. And I think it does
Well, I guess
transitions
here would be-
between them too, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that.
So like if you were to put this on like, I don't know, bathroom mirrors or something like that, that would be a good place for it,
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
yeah. If you needed to have like a reflection, you definitely want to have the area in front of that reflection in one of these spaces. So what else are we going to look at? So we got some reflectivity there, but I want to play with the shader a little bit more. So
Why not
let's go
change
to
the
reflective.
specular color so you can really see the reflection?
So we're going to change the specular color to be really bright, and we're going to make the diffuse color to be non-existent. And there we go. We have a perfectly reflective sphere.
That's pretty sweet. You can attach a reflective thing to a reflection probe to an object that moves around, though, can you?
No. I think that you probably cannot do that. Or it wouldn't work.
Oh,
It would.
It would probably not.
It might. I don't know. It would probably depend on your quality settings, too.
Yeah.
So one of the really cool things is with PBR shading is... If you notice when we go to our thing, this is called smoothness, right? And why? I swear this needs to be different. So for metals and stuff, but basically, as it gets less smooth, you see how it blurs. Isn't that freaking sweet?
That is, actually.
Now, what's really interesting about it, and you can actually see it if you're careful, there's actually little layers to the smoothness, to the blurring. And the reason for that is the way they're doing this is using the mip maps. They're actually mip mapping this cube map that you've generated and blending between the two based on the amount of blur. And so it's actually just a lower resolution map of what you already have there. And so it's incredibly fast, even on mobile. So
when you kick the smoothness down.
Yeah, when you kick the smoothness down, it's still fast. Well, I mean, it's fast in either case. Like it's one of these things where it's actually, but you can get this really cool effect where you can have things that have different smoothness and qualities.
We don't know what
now,
pro features are going to be in here. Is this pro only?
I would imagine that. So real-time shadows are probably still going to be pro only.
Yeah.
This is speculation, people. This is really important. Don't be like,
don't hold Unity together.
Max
this is not an
totally
official
told
press
me
release.
that this was going to be in there, and I hate everyone now because it's not. But
disclaimer:
this
is not a press release.
The standard shader is definitely going to be there. I know that. I'm fairly certain that reflection stuff is going to be there because it's very, very important for PVR. It's so important, and they're really pushing that. Shadows and real-time global illumination stuff may not be available in your version of Unity. The pre-baked stuff probably will be because it's available in the free version now. So keep that in mind. So can we do a masks? Something cool. I'm just going to see what we have for... So let's first play with a normal map. Let's put like my really stupid bumpy normal map in here, which is in somewhere. I don't know. What looks like a normal map. This noise normal map. So you can see we got this nice little...
That's cool.
Shiny thing because of the bumpiness here, and then you can still have it be a rough surface as well, so that you can get this like blurry, freaking sweet reflections.
That actually looks really, really cool.
Yeah. Now, what else? So if we change the spec, this is what's really cool. You can, if we were to give it, I'm gonna have to make a texture. So let's do Neo texture edit. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna grab this one that's already built in here, and we're just gonna export it as 256 is fine. Blah.
Wow, that's...
I'm never gonna find that because my desktop is dirty. Yeah.
It's right there. It's in front of you. Right.
Oh, I clicked on it.
You did.
That was pure luck, believe it or not, or unluck because I didn't notice it. Come on. I hate you. Alright, so we're going to put this in here. And I'm going to put this in as our... where is it? Reflection sphere. No, I want the shader. Reflective, and we're going to put this in as our specular map. And so now you'll see that in the areas where it's black, it's not reflective anymore. And so we can actually change it so if we had a color to this, or if we have a texture map, so like if we put some, let's just make a texture map too. Neo texture edit, let's get something with some color in it. What do you like?
Brick wall.
Yeah, brick wall's pretty good. That pattern's kind of neato.
Let's do this one.
Neato. Yeah.
Now I know where it's going to be. I know where it's going to hide.
Into the ends.
Yeah. All right.
For Gravelord Neato.
Oh, I spelled that wrong for Nito.
I know, it was. I didn't think of that till afterwards.
So, reflective, so we can put this onto diffuse. And so now you have this thing that has a texture, but also has reflections. And so you can get stuff that starts to look like real stuff here. It's pretty cool. Now
Add a height map.
Add a height map. Let's just go down the list.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. What do we have? I don't know what constructor is, but I'm gonna just try it. I don't know what the difference between a height map and a normal map is. Honestly, I don't know why they would have both, but they do appear to work together. I mean, I saw something curve in on the side there. Normally, I would expect these to be used completely separate. Oh wait, if it's a height map, I should probably be using not a normal map. I should probably be using a black and white thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's actually do it with the one that we're already using for this.
Is the tiling and offset shared for all of those?
Yes, for all these it is shared.
Oh yeah, I could see a difference. Though it's not going where I expect it to, but that's okay, I guess.
It's not?
I don't know. Zoom it in and out real quick. No, I'm not that. I mean, move the height map settings.
Okay, yeah, so... Yeah, where it should be going is where it's reflective, it should be going one direction. Where it's not reflective, it should be going the other. Because this is the same thing we're using for the reflection.
Yeah.
Or rather, the specularity.
Interesting.
So we could also make this thing glowy. We could let's make the green like glow somehow. Let's make it a mission map or something.
Whoa.
And you can even have dynamic light maps, which I think means that this thing will actually like light things around it with its soft glow.
That's crazy.
If we turn off, let's actually try that. Let's see what happens if we turn off our directional light.
Yeah, it definitely is illuminating.
So let's see if it actually is definitely illuminating. So we've got our cubes here. So some of this is actually just because of the ambience. So I think that it's actually not illuminating. Let's find out though. Where was I? Reflective. So if we change the emission to 0, yeah, it's only...
Change it to 10. Yeah, it's not not a...
Do static light maps. Does that make any differences? Probably not. It's not wanting to recalculate
Change it
things
to
in any
10.
way.
Nope, doesn't do anything.
All right. There might be a way. The fact that it has this light mapper stuff in here means that there is a possibility that might change, or maybe I'm just saying this stuff wrong. Remember, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just flying through this stuff. So,
Would the cubes being static make any difference? I mean, they're static now. If they weren't static, or...
it might make a difference, yes. Maybe. But they are static now. But if this thing was static, it might make a difference too. Let's actually try that. If we make this thing static. Oh, look, it's recalculating some stuff. And we go to the reflective, and we change this thing so that it has...
Whoa.
Let's get rid of our directional light for right now. Let's see if this thing actually lights something.
Can we put the lighting up more? I don't see anything. But...
Let's try it. Okay, let's put the lighting up more. We'll move it closer to one of these things. And pump it. All right.
Yeah, pump up the volume.
20.
No, it doesn't. It's doing something in the background. Your computer just kicked up
paused.
a notch.
Yeah,
Let's
let's wait for it to finish. There, it does. It does. So yeah, it does light.
Oh, it's a nice soft little glow.
Now,
Looks like a ball, like a light from the 70s.
if it goes static, I wonder if it'll look different or the same or what. We're just gonna see that it does.
It's baking.
Because it definitely
AO
rebaked.
output.
AO stands for ambient occlusion. This is the shadows that you get from things being like bouncing around. It's the fake shadowing that you get in a lot of games these days for objects that are moving through a scene. So
Looks kind of like a face.
it does. Yeah, kind of came out as something. Actually, it's just like,
Just from that angle.
yeah.
He's like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" It's probably
So
how it
much
sounds.
baking happening. My computer's baking. I hope this isn't affecting the broadcast.
I can totally see him saying that.
What? Hey, you guys. Maybe it sounds like
Yeah, it didn't
Powley.
make much difference. So we go back to dynamic and we turn this thing to not be,
You're a towel.
not make this thing static. And it's going to recalculate again because we're just messing with things. I'm just curious if it, but when it's done, if it'll still look good and we just weren't pumping up the brightness enough
Or the volume.
or the volume. Yep, no, it still doesn't work. So cool. So yeah, you
Need
need
to be
you
static.
need to be static for the
Which
emission
makes
light
sense.
mapping thing. Even though dynamic light maps, you'd think that would mean actually. I take that back. I just realized we haven't looked at our project quality settings. Let's try going to Fantastic and seeing if this changes the lighting. Did that actually go to Fantastic? I definitely saw a different. Yeah, so these are working. So shadows, blend weight, texture quality, soft shadow cascades. Yeah. Yep. No
Glowing
luck.
things need to be static as well, is what he said.
Yeah. But then why does it have an option called dynamic?
Enlighten real-time GI isn't just in the editor, it's in the game as well.
Yes, yes it is.
Yep.
But it will not be available on mobile, I'll tell you that right now. The global illumination... Oh, sorry. When I say it will not be available on mobile, I do not know this. I assume that it will not be available on mobile, at least generation of
Yeah.
stuff. It's going to be really costly. It's fine on PC. If you think about... Crysis was the first game I saw that had... I'm not saying it's the first game that had global illumination. It is the first game I saw with global illumination. And you all know how Crysis destroyed PCs when it was around. So
imagine
it
that
is-
on a phone.
Yeah. Now imagine that on a phone. Yes. So
Granted, the phones might be as the PCs that I'm gonna keep muttering to myself.
so I kind of don't like the emission thing. Let's just get rid of that.
Okay. Oh man, now it's so dark.
Now we're gonna turn the light back on.
Neato.
Go. So cool. All right. I think that's enough with that component. We've got 10 minutes left playing with it. Wow, that went fast.
I think we're gonna have to have a follow-up one of these.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have follow-ups on this thing, and we might.
Play around with this next week for the Thursday, the 2D. We can play around with 2D stuff in Unity 5.
Yeah, actually, I kind of want to show the networking things
Oh,
at some
sweet.
point
That would
because
be
I'm
great,
really excited
too.
about
I
that. I'm
would
not sure if
love
that's
to
in
see
here
that.
yet, but I'm super excited about that.
That's
so,
what I wanna see.
But I need to practice for that one. That's one that I can't just pull out of my butt. So,
But the sphere.
Yeah, rotate this.
I mean, you saw how unsuccessfully I was pulling this out of my
Hey,
butt. So,
you know, but all of
Rotate
us
the
learning
sphere? All
together is exciting.
Rotate
and going through the
the
process is kind
sphere.
of cool. Look at it go. Look at it go. Look at it go. Look at it go.
So I actually do wish to warn people that there are things that are broken, and I've already found one. One of the interesting ones is the physics system. So there's a huge difference between the physics system on the old version and the new version by about I think 4 points. And what I mean by that is the old version had this old version of PhysX from NVIDIA, and they really upgraded it since the previous version of Unity, and because of that you're going to see physics anomalies and errors and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the big changes is if you go into, and you can change this back, this is something that's kind of nice, but for the most part you don't want this turned off or turned on or whatever. If we go into physics, you'll see that there's this new option. It's called enable adaptive force. The adaptive force is a hack force that was in previous versions of it was on by default in Unity previously. And what it does is it changes how rigid bodies interact when they interpenetrate, and it creates this force that adds stuff into the equation and stuff.
Yeah.
It is off by default now. And so
Oh.
things that are interpenetrating probably will be handled a little bit better. Though, so if you run into a problem with physics, you might want to try ticking this on or ticking this off. Like if you open up your project, I don't recommend a big project that you're working on in the especially. But should you want to play around or prepare for what might happen or what might break, you back up your stuff, open it up, play around, enable adaptive force. If things are working badly, try turning it on. Might save your life. So the other thing is there are problems that will not fix. Like if we go to our really cool self-reconstructing demo, and we go to Cube Reconstructed, and I just save this as playaround 5.0. If we hit play here, this is our cube thing. If I shoot a ball at it, you'll see that it kind of doesn't react the way that it used to.
Oh, whoa.
It reacts in a very strange way. And this is actually a problem with physics.overlap sphere. And it has to do with... So, the reason that checking collision is faster than... So let's talk about brute forcing this a little bit. Collision. If you wanted to make your own collision system, and you were just to brute force that collision system, and you wanted an object to collide with all other objects in the scene, and you wanted to only support sphere colliders, and you wanted to check to see if something was colliding with each other, right? You would do a distance check to every object in the scene. This is incredibly expensive, right? Especially if you have a lot of objects. So what physics systems actually do is they create axis-aligned bounding boxes. They have these failure rates that happen ahead of time. It's like, this object's way farther away than this, it will never be affected by it, right?
Okay.
And so that's what's actually happening here wrong. We've got this really big sphere, and it thinks that some of these things are in its bounding box, but they're not actually in it because of their proximity to other objects.
I mean, it
Now,
kind of looks kind of cool,
it
but
does.
at the same time, it's not
And
what
the
I
reason I
expect.
know that's the problem is if we go into our big force ball here that this thing uses, and we make it so that it has a much lower radius, like 3, you'll see that it actually works exactly as it did before. See how everything works just like you'd expect? So this is a problem that's happening on large volumes for check sphere right now. And it's something that you totally might run into if you were playing around with some stuff and changing physics systems internally on an engine like they are. So I expect this one to be fixed by the time that it gets released. I have already filed a bug report on it, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one who has, because this will break a lot of games. If you notice problems where you are using check physics sphere in Unity 5.0, and it's not working the way that you expect it, or physics.check sphere, just realize that this bug is there. So, and I think that's probably enough for the episode.
Okay.
So, thank you guys. Oh yeah, I gotta actually do the thingy. Where's the thingy? There's the thingy. And where's my face? There's my face. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Hope you had a good time. Please email me if you have any questions, pushypixels@pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me at Drakfire. That's DRAKFYRE. You should buy Phil's game, Robot Alone.
I'm Phil.
And you should tweet him as well. He's Magma Lemur or something. What is it?
Follow me on Twitter at Magma Lemur. MAGMALEMUR. Magma Lemur. But you know what you should really do? You should donate to Cooking with Unity.
Yes, and if you donate to Cooking with Unity, you'll have access to that really cool, easy component script thing, and everything else that ends up in that repo, which there will be more stuff. There will be a lot of cool stuff going in over time.
Yeah.
I'm also going to try and preload it with some cool stuff over the next couple weeks. But for the most part, as you know, like this show, as it went on, there were more shows. And as things go on, there will be more stuff that is exclusive to people who subscribe to us on Patreon. So,
Fair enough.
thank you very much. And you guys have a great night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.